This is the tutorial video for the Gamalux All-in-One Training and Sales Presentation. A recorded guide through each slide will be provided in a separate video. With this all-in-one presentation, you can address the interests of most specifiers and customers within a time frame that suits their needs. To start, open the file. Then, from the slideshow menu, click Start from Beginning. At the bottom of your screen, you will notice 8 icons. Each icon represents a particular audience, and by clicking that icon, you will activate a hyperlink within the presentation to jump you to the next slide that is appropriate for that particular audience. It bypasses all slides which are not well suited for that specific audience. Working from left to right, let's start with the sales representative icon. Clicking this icon will advance the presentation to the next slide that is intended to be viewed by our representative partners, such as spec and inside salespeople, quotes, and project managers. This is a complete rep training presentation, and it includes all the slides that specifiers and customers would see, as well as some that only the people at the sales office are intended to see. That's because those slides go into a level of detail that would not usually be shared with other audiences. Next, you will see the icon for Lunch and Learn presentation. This presentation is generic in nature, so it can be used for any audience. It includes sufficient content for a 50 to 55-minute presentation, but it does not include any of the pages that were originally intended exclusively for the sales representative's internal training use. By repeatedly clicking this icon, you will follow the intended path to give a generic lunch presentation for all audiences. Next, we have the icon for a 15-minute presentation. Again, this presentation is generic in nature, so it can be used for any audience. It includes sufficient content for a 15-minute presentation, so it does not go into great detail on any subject like you would find in the lunch presentation. By repeatedly clicking this icon, you will follow the intended path to give a generic 15-minute presentation to all audiences. Next is the icon for a lighting designer presentation. This presentation includes only the slides that will be most interesting to lighting designers. It includes sufficient content for a 25-minute presentation to lighting designers, and while it is very similar to other presentations, it does not go into detail on some of the items that would be of greater interest to other audiences. By repeatedly clicking this icon, you will follow the intended path to give a 25-minute lighting designer specific presentation. Next is the icon for an architect presentation. This presentation includes only the slides that would be most interesting to architects. It includes sufficient content for a 25-minute architect presentation, and like the lighting designer presentation, it does not go into detail on some of the items that would be of greater interest to other audiences. Repeatedly clicking this icon will guide you through the intended path for a 25-minute architect-specific presentation. Then, we have the icon for an engineer presentation. Like the lighting designer and architect presentations, repeatedly clicking this icon will guide you through the intended path for a 25-minute engineer presentation. Next is the icon for a distributor presentation. Again, many of the slides are the same as what you would have seen in other presentations, but a number of slides within this path are not included in the paths of the other presentations because these slides go into a level of detail that is not usually shown to other audiences. The last icon is for an installer presentation, and again, it includes the slides that would be of the greatest interest to installers. As you cycle through any of these presentations, you will notice that all icons are included at the bottom of every page, but many of the icons are not underlined. Only the audiences represented by an underlined icon can actually see that particular page. If for some reason you want to switch from one type of presentation to another in the middle of your presentation, simply click on the icon that represents the presentation you would like to give. For instance, if you find yourself running out of time, you may want to finish up using the remainder of the 15-minute presentation. There may be times when you want to go back and review a particular slide. You can do that by repeatedly hitting your keyboard's left arrow key or the left arrow control icon on the screen if your version of PowerPoint supports that feature. If your device has a touch screen, you may also be able to swipe the screen to the right to review previous pages until you land on the desired page. From there, just click the appropriate icon to get back on track with whichever presentation you are giving. To start over, click the area just above the icons. Please send any recommendations for improvements to this all-in-one presentation or ideas for new application photos to Joe Napoli at Gamalux. Thank you.